With the Prevost and the Emeralds, we're at the top of the RV food chain, is what I like to say.
They build these coaches to last. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found an incredible opportunity on a brand new Prevost Emerald luxury coach demo unit. We're hanging out here in Frederick, Colorado with Brian from Transwest. How you doing today, sir?
Good, how are you, Andrew?
Excellent, thank you. And I've heard you've got an incredible opportunity here, a leftover 2024 brand new Emerald luxury coach that you guys are ready to make a crazy deal on?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a great coach. It's a great opportunity for somebody. New coach, factory warranties from Emerald, warranties from Prevost. So yeah, it's ready to have a new home. How about that?
And this is the brand new body style, so the new 9660 shell. And you've been using this as a demo to show off the Emerald brand, or?
Yeah, we took it from the factory out to India for a little bit. We had it out at MCC and taken it to some other Prevost events to demo, like you said, some of the features of the new shell. And then it's been here at Frederick at the Transwest Truck Trailer RV lot. So yeah.
Yeah, and Transwest is the dealer for Emerald luxury coaches.
When I talk about the relationship between Transwest and Emerald, we're the exclusive dealer. We've committed to their entire production, however many they're going to build. They're doing one a month this year. We want to grow, and we've committed to their entire production line, whatever that looks like in the future. So being the exclusive dealer for Emerald luxury coach, and we're proud to do it. Emerald goes back a long ways with Transwest because they carry the Outlaw brand. So it's a decades-long relationship that the two companies have had together. So it's kind of a natural fit, I believe, for Transwest and Emerald. So that's kind of the way that I describe the relationship between the companies.
And if folks out there aren't familiar with Outlaw, Emerald Luxury Coaches President John Walker is also the president of Outlaw Conversions, the horse trailer company, one of the most well-known, high-quality living quarters horse trailers companies that I think they've been in business since the late 96, I believe. And then in the early 2000s, John and his team started playing with converting some Prevost under the Outlaw name, and then eventually started Emerald Luxury Coaches and have had an incredible relationship with Transwest even long before Emerald started. Now, Emerald has really made a name in the Prevost conversion industry. They've really commanded a lot of respect from the buyers. The RV technicians out there that work on these really appreciate what Emerald does. What is it about Emerald Luxury Coaches that makes them different than other Prevost converters and other luxury motor coaches out there?
Andrew, I love that question. And the thing that I think really separates Emerald from other converters are the people that build them. They're in Stephenville, Texas. They've got a great labor pool there. Stephenville's a pretty good sized town, but Emerald's a big deal in Stephenville. So I think that contributes a lot. There's a lot of pride in the product, but they're not afraid to listen to customers. They're not afraid to listen to the feedback that they get. They internalize that, find out where they can improve. And I know you've done interviews with John, and that's what he talks about. He just wants every coach, he wants to build a better coach. So I really think that it gets down to the people, the product, and the pride that they take in Emerald Luxury Coach. I think that's what separates it. And then, of course, we always talk about the 5 things: ease of use, the simplicity of the product. There's a short learning curve. If you've got motorhome experience, there's a short learning curve on how to use the systems. So there's a lot of those things. It's a very contemporary looking, modern looking coach. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I would say the people, the product, and the pride that they take.
Yeah, absolutely. And their designs have just been sharpening up over the years. They have kind of a private jet yacht type feel to them, very clean lines, simple design, but one of the best looking coaches on the road. And not only the interior design, but the exterior design on this particular coach. I love the way they brought the paint design through the windows with that perforated vinyl. And I believe that's actually painted the same way the rest of the coach is painted.
Yeah, that's a great observation. I think one of the things that with the H345 is you're getting that full body paint look, right? And the way the painters faded, it goes from a little bit darker cream into a lighter white, and then fades back out into a darker cream. I think the lines on this are just very stylish. It's very clean. And like you said, the painting through the windows is a nice touch. It finishes off that area. It doesn't break the lines up. But the black mask that takes in the Prevost windows, those are Prevost patented windows, dual pane tinted. So that mask just incorporates all the great colors, the fading, the sleek lines. This is just an unbelievably nice, classic looking paint job.
Absolutely, and the new modern design, you know, on the 9660 shell, they did some heavy updates on the body style here. This has the new E-mirrors, and then it also has the traditional style mirrors as well.
Yeah, so this is great. So they've got the traditional mirrors like you pointed out, but the E-mirrors, and I wasn't a big, you know, E-mirrors to me was like I could take it or leave it kind of a thing. But as I've used the coaches more and used the E-mirrors more, I actually found that I was using the E-mirrors and not really using the traditional mirrors. So I've become a believer in the E-mirrors. The color's great, we can see it when we get inside, but those E-mirrors have really, you know, evolved for me.
Well, especially at night and in foggy conditions. And I recently heard an Emerald owner, a gentleman that has a brand new Emerald, told me that he likes putting his blind down, like especially today, this Colorado sun is no joke. And if you're, you know, going down the highway and that sun's coming down on your left arm, he said that he's putting the blind down and using that E-mirror and keeping a little more shade. So another little convenience there for the end user.
Yeah, and I could see where that would happen. We do have these see-through shades here, and then of course we got the nighttime shades, but you know, that is a possibility for somebody. I like using them at night to see when I clear a vehicle. So, you know, if you're passing somebody and you want to see when you clear them, the E-mirrors are giving you that clear visibility that it's okay to get over, you know, but just double check. But yeah, there's a lot of nice things.
And I know you guys have sold a lot of brand new body style Emeralds recently because there's been a lot of trades. You've got several 23s, 2017 just came in hours ago. Some friends of the channel just bought a new Emerald and traded in that 17. So how are your owners reacting to the new body style compared to their older Emeralds with the previous body style?
Yeah, I think that's great. The folks had traded in their 2017, that was an X3, to a 2026 H3 quad slide, which is a great move for them. And then we've had people that have traded in their 2023s for 2025s and 2026s. So I'm not sure what the average model year that somebody keeps. Let's throw out numbers, maybe it's 4 or 5 years. Some people trade after every couple of years, so it's not uncommon. But when Prevost came out with the new body style, that did inspire people. It inspired them like, I want the latest, I want the greatest. And the front caps, it really made some improvements in not only just the appearance and the look and the flaring, but the aerodynamics and some of the fuel economies and things like that. So it is more than just the look, but the look definitely, when you sit two side by side, which maybe we can do, you can see the difference in the body.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to learning more about this coach, but we're going to do some more videos on some incredible pre-owned Emeralds. If someone doesn't want to jump all the way into a brand new Emerald and maybe dip their toe in the water with a pre-owned Emerald, some great opportunities with your pre-owned inventory right now.
It is. It's a great way for somebody to get into a Prevost, see if they like it. We got a lot of people, of course, Transwest carries all kinds of high-end motorhomes on top of the Emeralds. So we get a lot of people that are trading in their high-end production model coaches and getting into a pre-owned Prevost, which is still, it's a step up. With the Prevosts and the Emeralds, we're at the top of the RV food chain is what I like to say, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, what is it about the Prevost shell that commands such a premium and differentiates them from other motorhomes out there?
So it really starts with Prevost and the chassis. And what separates Prevost chassis from other chassis on other high-end production motorhomes is that this was originally engineered and designed to not necessarily be a motorhome. It was engineered to carry tens of, 50 people or more, however many that number is, comfortably down the road with a driver safely and comfortably and efficiently. So this coach, when it's in the commercial application, it's intended to be on the road, being used, driven hundreds of miles a day, and people are putting thousands of miles a month on a chassis. Now our owners aren't doing that. They're not using that in that way, but that's the type of engineering and technology. So these are 1,000,000-mile coaches. A seated coach person or a commercial person may use it for 1,000,000 miles and then sell it to another person that may put another 1,000,000 miles on it. So again, that goes back to the type of engineering, design, and features that Prevost has. That gets into the support, technical support, the service support that you're gonna get. And I think it's 16 Prevost-owned service centers across the country. So that's what I describe to people. It's such a great product to be building. But Freightliner and Spartan, they've got their place in the motorhome market too. It's not a Prevost.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Prevost got all of those rock stars running around from show to show in these, as well as all the seated buses. So they really need to make sure that they're staying going down the road. So a lot of thought into the serviceability, if you need to change a belt or you need to fix something quickly. And I know Prevost has a lot of support as well. What's the support, customer support through Emerald and through Prevost that someone can expect when buying a new Prevost Emerald? And what's the warranty on this coach?
Yeah, so the Prevost warranty is a 2-year warranty from Prevost. Emerald has a 2-year warranty as well. Engine transmission is a 5-year warranty. And when we talk about service and support, I always encourage customers when we're doing walkarounds and deliveries and we're showing them how to use things, always call Emerald first. One is they want to be that first point of contact for their customers, building a strong relationship and knowing what's going on with the coach, and then they can refer you to the best place to go. If it's a Prevost, a Prevost chassis thing, they can guide you to, yeah, that's a Prevost thing, that'd be best to call them about. And then on terms of Prevost, by the way, Emerald does have 24/7 service, okay. Prevost as well. So Prevost has a system called PASS. I can't remember what the acronym means, but it is for the passenger assistance service or something along those lines. But Prevost just takes great care of their, especially the motorhome customer. It's kind of unique. When you go to a Prevost service center, they work on so many of the rock star coaches, entertainer coaches, the seated coaches. When a motorhome person comes in, it's kind of like, hey, look, we're good to work on this. And so it's kind of a special thing for the Prevost folks, but hands down, Prevost service is,
absolutely. Yes, sir, absolutely. And what type of warranty on the Prevost shell and on the Emerald conversion does this coach have as a demo unit?
It would still have, it's untitled, it's new, so never been owned. So it would have the full 2-year warranty from both Prevost and Emerald.
Okay.
No questions about that.
Okay, very cool.
So it's being sold as a new coach.
Yes, sir. Well, I'd love to go around the bays a little bit, but I'll tell you what, this sun in Denver is no joke. I thought Florida was hot, but I can feel it on my skin. Does this coach have the big batwing awnings like we've seen on some of the other Emeralds?
Yep. Yeah, it does.
Do you think we could put those out before we take a look through the bays?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put them out and give ourselves some shade when we're walking around.
I appreciate that.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, now I believe there's awning controls on the interior of this coach, but how many awning controls do we have throughout this coach?
So being out here, we've got 6 of these larger touch pads that are throughout the coach. We got 4 inside and 2 outside. There is a remote control as well for the awnings, but if we wanted to do them from right here, we can extend them. So you've got the driver's side rear, passenger side rear, driver's side front, passenger side front. So we can just do them from right here if you like.
Well, this is a game changer having these huge awnings. Now, this is a quad slide coach. We do have the slide rooms in right now, so we will lose a little bit of space, but that's got to be close to 12 feet or so?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's about 12 feet, and this is just great for entertaining. When you've got a bunch of friends out here, or just you're a couple out here, this just sets it up really nicely for entertaining yourselves or your friends.
Oh, even on a rainy day, a hot day, definitely a lot of value for that. And I know a lot of folks out there, if they're at a racetrack and they want to keep their car in the shade or their motorcycles, a lot of benefits to having that shade there.
Yeah, and then at night, it's lit underneath, so there's a lot of lighting out here, so day or night, yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. Now, coming into the base here on the door side of the coach, this is a big upgrade from some of the previous Emeralds we've seen. Is this all new when they went to the 9660 to do this kind of crazy outdoor kitchen out here? Or?
Yeah, I know that they had made 200 plus changes in the bays once we went from the previous H to the new H. They took that opportunity to make a lot of improvements, John and his team, and this is one of those. I like the way that they engineered it and designed it. We have the refrigerator out here. Then you've got lots of storage drawers. You do have a water spigot if you wanted to have a hose and water out here. I've washed my coach, so that I use, so I like this water spigot over here. You can do a city water fill, 110. There is a trip breaker out here because we have water, but there's a 110 outlet here. We talked about the touchpad. One nice thing that Emerald actually designed into this is on the back side of this are the holding tanks. So this is something where you can take this out, set it aside if there was a need to service any of the plumbing bay area. So they're very thoughtful in the way that they put this in and the way they designed it, engineered it.
Yes, sir. And I see the gravity fill here for your freshwater tank. What is the holding tank capacities in this coach?
The holding tank for freshwater is 170 gallons.
Wow. And gray and black?
It's like 85 and 85, something like that.
Yeah, heavy duty capacity. And then you've got your refrigerator outside. It's a really nice use of this space in front of those holding tanks there.
Yeah, so again, it kind of goes back to the entertaining. If you're entertaining people, you know, we've got all kinds of things that keep your beverages cool, keeps people from needing to go in and out of the coach. You can just get your items right here.
We have a locking fuel door here on both sides. Do you know what the fueling capacity is on this?
It says 203 gallons if you were to look at the Prevost brochure. So I say 203 gallons.
Huge fuel capacity on this. Over 200 gallons. You could put a lot of miles down in one of these.
Yeah, you can cover a lot of ground. It's great to have that kind of fuel capacity. And actually, in addition, when we were talking about fuel, and I love talking about the fuel and holding tanks and things like that, because one of the things when I'm doing a walk around with a customer and demonstrating Prevost, and you'd asked the question earlier, what separates Prevost from production coaches, right? Well, another thing that people don't really think about is weight distribution. So what I like to show customers, it's easy to show in a shell, but you have your holding tanks back here, and we talked about the number of gallons of water. We have a fuel tank here, and that's hundreds of gallons of fuel. So that's putting the weight on the drive axle. So people ask, well, why does a Prevost drive so different from the production coaches? It has a lower center of gravity that's more on its rear, right? So when you think about that, a Prevost, when you're going around corners, it really feels like it's hugging the corners, right?
Absolutely.
It's like a high-end luxury car.
It reminds me of a Porsche, and I'd say some of the production motorhomes are more like a Cadillac, you know?
Right. So you've got the generator on the other side about mid-coach, fuel tank, holding tanks. Well, when you look at a production model coach, you've got the generator and fuel tank in the front, right, generally. So that's putting the weight distributions different. So I like talking about weight distribution when we're talking about the Prevost and why they handle and drive so much differently. That's one of the reasons.
And I know there's a lot of thought that goes into the weight distribution, not only from Prevost, but then Emerald as well. I'm sure there's a lot of consideration that goes into where they put all of the systems.
Yeah, it's very important. You know, I think the motorhome industry has become real educated on weight and balance and things like that, and so constantly trying to reduce weight. I know that Emerald is very thoughtful about the materials that they use, trying to take as much weight out of the coach, and that frees up weight for the owners to put their belongings in there too. So, you know, just kind of in a high level general conversation about weight, yeah, it's something that Emerald pays real close attention to.
Yeah, and I know you've had the opportunity, you were sharing with me earlier today off camera, that you got to kind of tour around showing this coach. So you got to put down a lot of miles in this coach. Can I ask, I'm sure you're probably under, it's probably commercial or DOT, but you know, what's the most miles or what's the longest you've been able to drive in a day?
Yeah, that's great. And so I don't like driving more than 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll usually stop at a rest area and you get a lot of advice from other owners on, hey, I found this. One was a rest area in Montana. They said, oh my gosh, you know, you get to this one rest area, it's a very big area, not many people are there usually. So, you know, I took their advice and stayed a night. You know, at least get 3, 4, 5 hours under your belt just to keep you fresh and then get back on the road again. So yeah, those are my way of driving and handling.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've heard, you know, Prevost owners, you know, mention is that they don't get as fatigued driving a Prevost as they do driving production motorhomes.
And I can back that up as well. You know, I'll take a trade on a new coach and I'll end up driving the trade back to the dealership or to wherever. And so I get firsthand experience in the differences between the Prevost and a production motorhome or a Super C or Class B. We get lots of trades on the new Emeralds and in the pre-owned Emeralds as well. So yeah, there's a big difference in the handling. You're not as fatigued. And again, it goes back to the commercial application. They've got drivers that are driving many hours, right? And those drivers, you know, they want to be fresh and they're carrying the 50 people safely down the road, hundreds of miles. So it's an important thing.
Now, below the fuel bay, we see this ventilation here What's the purpose to have this ventilation below the fuel door?
Yeah, that's the radiator for the dash AC. So each coach that Emerald orders comes with the dash air conditioning. So that's what this is for.
And I've heard some Emerald owners mention that the newer dash AC and the newer body style is a little more upgraded than the previous body style H3.
I think they redesigned that dash area for the volume of air. Of course, the H's have that full windshield, right? And that's a lot of surface area. So I think they had redesigned that whole air conditioning and cooling that area because there's so much window up there.
And then this bay in front of the fuel bay here, again, this is a pretty big step up from what we've seen in the previous. They left it more open before, and now we have these nice drawers here. Is that another update for the new 9660 body style?
Yeah, I think that in spec coaches, Emerald's chosen to put something in here. If somebody ordered a coach, they could put a toolbox in here, or they could put something different in here. But on this particular spec coach, they chose to put the storage cabinets in here. And then we've got a 110 outlet with the USB ports. Again, a very simple cabinet to take out if any service needed to be done. On the back of this, there's a fuel tank behind here. So any service needed to be done, just take it out.
Yes, sir, and even the hardware that they use in the basement bays is very high end. You know, everything about this screams, you know, multi-million dollars. It's all high end. So
yeah, that handle's easy to grab. You know, it's got a great grip to it. That's a really nice, sturdy, and all those are built in-house.
Now, this being a quad slide, this door is going to actually swing out where the triples and the doubles are going to have those doors that swing upwards.
Right, yeah, Prevost engineered the bay doors to take into consideration the way the slide outs come out over the patio.
And are these Prevost slide outs?
All the slide outs in Emeralds in this coach are going to be Prevost slides, yes.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit earlier on, they may have played with some different slide rooms early when they were doing Prevost several years ago, but now all the new production, it's all Prevost slides.
Yeah, they've chosen to go with Prevost. Prevost stands behind the slides. They engineered, designed them. They're all above the floor. They're using Prevost technology, hardware. So yeah, they chose to go with Prevost.
Yes, sir. And there's a lot going on in this bay, but I love how clean everything is. I see some big boy twin 5,000 watt inverters, and it looks like a lithium battery system in this coach.
So Emerald's putting lithium ion batteries in. If somebody prefers AGMs, they could do that, but lithium's what a lot of people are asking for, and that's the way the product's evolved. So the lithium batteries with the Victron energy, those are two 5,000 watt inverters, is how Emerald's chosen to go with there.
Yes, sir. Some of the other, motorhome companies out there offering different lithium packages out there, and it's important for people to know that it's not just your batteries that are important. You can go buy lithium batteries and slap them in, but if you don't have the proper distribution network, the big inverters, a lot more than just the batteries go into this whole system for it to operate seamlessly, where you can run an AC without your generator. How many ACs can you run without your generator?
You can run 2 ACs without your generator. There are 4 lithium batteries in this package, and each of them has 200 amp hours. So that's 800 amp hours. And if you're dry camping, sitting like we are, you can run your front and rear roof air conditioners off of the batteries.
Now, can you charge those off of your generator?
Yes.
What about while it's going down the road, will it charge off the alternator?
Yes, the alternators are going to charge the lithium batteries, and then you can run your front and rear roof air conditioners in addition, just like you're dry camping. If somebody wanted to run 4, you would turn on your generator, run your generator. For some reason you want to do that.
Yeah, it's understandable. And earlier we were just talking about how nice having lithium batteries is, because it doesn't create noise pollution, no fumes. There's something to be said about being able to, fire up your lights, your ACs for several hours, not worry about the generator. You're not bugging your neighbors with noise or, fumes. So
yeah, and the technology has evolved so much in the past few years, so it's been a good evolution.
Well, but Emerald's been using lithium technology for quite some time now. I remember in the 2020 coaches, it was an option back then, and I think more and more of the late model ones that we're seeing are going to have the lithium system.
Yeah, and then tying it all in with 100% Victron components in here. So with the lithium, the Victron, Emerald's done a great job of researching what they feel is the best way to set up their electrical systems.
Yeah, really clean. And I see a button right here that has a little kind of a cover over it. Looks like you need to triple check before you press this button. what is this button exactly?
So that, I describe it as your house shutdown system. So if somebody was going to park their coach for an extended period of time and they wanted to shut the coach to the 12 volt, the low voltage, you would push that button and that would shut down your 12 volt distribution system, and you could store it without a draw on the batteries.
Okay, so you know, in the past I always was taught that you have to plug into 50 amp when storing one of these Prevosts. Would you be able to essentially store this and shut down your battery system and then not have to plug it in, and you'd be okay?
Yeah, you'd be okay if you didn't have the coach plugged in. I think a lot of our owners do plug them in. But if you wanted to keep your short cord inside the coach, shut down your house, you're basically shutting the coach down. And then in addition, the chassis batteries. So you'd shut down your chassis as well.
Okay, and that's for maybe a few months or so?
Yeah,
or?
sure, yeah.
Hey buddy, look at this corgi. Okay, and you never know. We got a little friend that's joining our shoot today. Hey, buddy.
Get after it.
You know we're dog lovers here at Emerald. Hi, sweetie. We love corgis too. So this one,
Nice visitor.
just you know, open to strangers. She's not afraid of strangers. So. Oh, hey, buddy. Hey, how you doing, big guy? But I love the styling of these lights here with that machined look. Very unique design for Emerald. Is that something that's standard on all Emerald coaches?
Yeah, so that's part of the exterior lighting package that Emerald puts on. So we've got one here, we've got one on the other bay door, but yeah, it's just giving you indirect lighting as well as below the coach too. So it's just a nice exterior accent light.
Yes, sir. And then what's all going on? This has got more of the panographing door because of this being a quad slide where it would normally swing up. But what else is going on in this bay?
Yeah, so in this bay, we've got a manual slide out tray. It's very easy to use. Comes all the way out. And then they maximize the width on the front, and then they've got this great durable material on the flooring of the slide out tray as well, on the flooring of the bay. Again, very durable, easy to clean, easy to maintain. You can see in this bay, we see the Prevost gussets that Prevost welds in here, taking into consideration the slide rooms and the structural stability of the coach. They also have a mesh netting here for your remote controls. I like to describe this touchpad as a touchpad that's convenient for lights in this area, exterior lighting. Then we've got a 110 outlet with the USB ports. Another thing that Emerald's done is that they've taken these breaker boxes and they've made them narrow enough so you're getting a lot more space in the bays, maximizing the width of the bay structure. This is a really nice bay with the table as well.
Well, and the nice thing about this table is right now it's got dual purpose here because it's protecting this huge TV, but then also if you want to have an outside table here to tailgate or set up for a meal, you've got a nice easy place to store that where it's not taking up a bunch of room. And then when we pull this out, I'm always impressed.
It's like it keeps going and going.
Yeah, well, and the feel of it too. It's got just a very industrial feel, very smooth. That's a huge TV. Do you know what the size of that TV is?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, 65-inch maybe?
It's
a large TV for sure. Very clear and great for entertaining, watching football and watching NASCAR or whatever you want to watch, golf.
I've never noticed this on the back of the TV here. There's a little switch right here. Do you know what this switch is for? My
understanding is it disables the magnet that's on the back of the TV.
It kind of locks it into place, this mechanism here?
Yeah, so when you slide it in and out, there's a magnet that's in there, and so it disables that.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. You learn something new every day.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to try this out here. I'm going to flip this down now. Yeah, it's locked in place now.
Locked into place, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, it's such a heavy TV, probably wouldn't swing, but just in case, a little extra structure built into it. So yeah, a lot of thought goes into this. Decades and decades of building motorhomes. They're thinking of all kinds of little stuff.
They sure do. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, bay one up front here is going to also be a panographing door, and it looks like you guys have been hitting the weights a little bit. Not sure what that's all about, but what's all going on up front here?
So again, a full pass-through bay here. You have your slide-out tray, manual slide-out tray. It's a 3/4 slide out tray, and again, maximizing the front of the slide out tray. It's narrower because of the gussets in the middle. We've got LED lights in here. We got the 110 outlet with the USB ports, fully utilized for storage, whatever you want to store in here.
Some nice Emerald luxury
We got
bags.
some merch.
So when someone buys a multi-million-dollar coach, they get a free T-shirt with it.
Get a T-shirt, a jacket, hat. Yeah, we'll set you up.
All right, that's good to know. Now this has a manual slide tray, which I personally prefer. I don't have the patience to wait for a switch. I'd rather just grab it and pull it out. Do they offer an automatic slide tray as well?
They'll do electric slide trays. They will. Yeah, and it's so it's an option that they would do for a customer. Yeah.
Is that something that could be retrofitted after the fact if someone preferred that, like on this demo unit? How hard would that be to switch this out for power slide trays?
Sure. If somebody wanted to add that to their coach, we could certainly add it in our service department aftermarket. Yeah, it can be done.
I'm sure there's an expense to it, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, there's an expense to it, and we'd see what that would be. But yeah, we could do electric slide trays here.
Yeah, nice having this big full pass-through bay, and I have to mention the height of these bays. You know, the Prevost H3 is going to have the tallest bays in the industry, and earlier you mentioned H345 is the model, and I recently learned what that meant. So, the H is for high decker, and then the 3 is for 3 axles, and then 45 feet. So that's kind of where they got the H345, but this is a high decker bus. So having that higher floor is going to create a lot more bay space here. And then also when we're in the coach, you're going to be able to see we have more of a view because we're taller than other motorhomes out there. So.
That's right.
Now coming around to the front end of the coach, we talked about the updated front end, the updated headlights, but I like to point out the curve right here. This has much more of a flare than the previous H345, so a little more aerodynamic, less wind resistance from what I've heard.
I think that's a great way to describe it. I noticed that too, the flaring of the service door that you can open up, but you can see the difference between the previous H model and this H model. So inside here, people actually, sometimes they think this is an entry door, which it isn't, but it's a service door. So this is primarily Prevost components, and Prevost does a great job of labeling, and as well as Emerald. Emerald does a great job of labeling any of their relays and breakers and fuses. So you can open up this and you can just see how clean everything is in there and how easy it is if any maintenance and service needs to be done in here. With the wiring, you've got windshield washer fluid down there, and again, more breakers and fuses.
And kind of a sleeker line here. In the past, it was just a straight line here where they added a nice little curve there, just a nice little sleek touch to it.
Yeah, and I like talking about, that's one of Prevost's things they like talking about too, is the Prevost patented windows, tinted, dual pane, wrap around windows when the slides are out. You have, full visibility throughout the slide room, very big windows in the front, so a lot of visibility outside the coach.
Yeah, the way they build these, with the windows stacked on top of each other, they're not as large of windows as some of the other windows, but they appear to be much larger because when you add them all together, there may be a little beam, but I believe that's probably part of that Prevost structure. Glass is only so strong, so they've got to have that steel structure, every so often. So coming up into bay 1 here, the door is going to not be pantographing on this side. It's going to be just a straight slide out. What's the reasoning for having the pantographing doors on that side but not on this side?
I would say probably because that's the patio side of the coach. So to have it more flush against the side of the coach, if you've got guests and you're entertaining over there versus something that's going to swing out on this side. So I would say maybe this is more of the services side where that's more of the entertainer side.
That definitely makes sense. Yes, sir.
Another thing that I like that Prevost does is, it's not a very windy day here today, but the bay doors are structured in such a way that, if a big gust of wind, they lock into place pretty good. So I like that feature as well on the bay doors. And then you get a really snug fit around the bays. So, in a commercial application, there may be baggage or something in here. So it's very weatherized, I guess, weatherproof. So you're not having wet and things get inside the bay. So it seals really nicely. It's a strong bay door.
Yes, sir. And this is the other side of the full pass-through bay that we just saw on the other side. But here they still have the cardboard designer here and more of these nice Emerald luxury coach lawn chairs with that more modern Emerald logo. Do you know what year Emerald updated their logo? I feel like it's got a kind of a newer, cooler look to it over the last few years.
I'm not sure exactly when they did that, but yeah, I think it's a really classy looking Emerald logo that they've created there.
Yeah, I think it was over the last couple of years. We'll have to give John Walker a call and get the exact on that.
Yeah. So yeah, full pass through here. We see the structural integrity with the gussets. And again, it's a new coach, so you're going to get all of the Prevost manuals. You get some belts and fluids. You also get the manuals for any of the components that Emerald put in, as far as, you know, microwaves, washer, dryer. So you're going to get all those in this compartments as well. Moving to the next bay. This is going to be the back side of where we had the table and the TV. One thing that I really like that Emerald does is they have a breaker box in here that's very residential looking to me. It's just very common sense. Everything's very well labeled on the door, so you know exactly where to come to if you wanted to test a system or a breaker trips or something along those lines. You can come right into here and it's your 120 volt breaker box. We have a subwoofer we didn't talk about on the other side. There is a sound bar on the other side. This would be the subwoofer, it's Bose. When you're watching TV, you have the sound bar over there. We've got an electric heater control box and some other breaker panels in here. This is the slide out motor access. So in the event something happened with the slide room where you needed to retract it manually, you would use a tool here and you could just retract the slide room in the event of an emergency. I always recommend calling first. Call Emerald or call Prevost and say, hey, I've got something going on, and they'll direct you in the best way to handle it. So,
yes, sir. And I don't think that happens often. I have not heard of that happening, but nice to have that support and a lot of redundancy built in to keep you going down the road so you're not stuck somewhere. You make a phone call, they'll walk you through it, and that's why it's important to have a few tools with one of these coaches just in case. You never know. So
yeah, carry some tools with you, sure.
Yes, sir.
Moving forward to the next bay. This is the generator bay. So we have a 20 kilowatt PowerTech generator here. It is on a slide out tray, which makes it very nice for serviceability. Fully insulated, it's in a steel box. And then you've got sound deadening in here. We do have an auxiliary air compressor here. You know, the auxiliary air compressor would be if you wanted to pump up some bike tires or basketballs or something along those lines. There's also some fans back in here. It's important to keep air circulating through this bay so it keeps fresh and it keeps it cool. So that's the fans back there. And we do have a fire suppression system in the event of an emergency, and that's necessary. There is a fire suppression there.
I like the placards that they use here too. You know, very clean, just kind of a notice, but that's gonna really stand the test of time and hold together well as opposed to like a little vinyl sticker. So.
Right, yeah, this is something that, you know, it'll, like you described, last, and it won't wear, you know, for a long, long time. And it's very common sense. You can walk right up to it and you'll know exactly what's there, even if it's not your coach.
Yeah, they've still got the big boy 20 kW generator, even though they have a lithium battery system. Almost overkill on your power supply.
You could probably go with a smaller size generator, but 20 is what's always been used, and you can certainly run your coach and a lot more off of that generator.
With a 200-gallon diesel fuel tank too, you could put a lot of hours on that generator without having to fuel up.
You can go for a while dry camping. Yeah,
yes, sir. Sure. I moved to Florida a few years ago, and we're coming into hurricane season. And every time I come into hurricane season, I'm like, man, I wish I had one of those 20 kW, a bus with a 20 kW generator would be real nice this time of year.
Yeah,
so.
For natural emergencies, that'd be great.
Yes, well, and especially, you know, with the electrical grids, it's something we don't really talk about, you know, but I remember a few years ago in Dallas when they had those snowstorms where the grid wasn't able to keep up with it. And with everything happening in the world, you never know if there's anything that ever happens with the electrical grid. Some nice sense of security in having a big generator like this.
Yeah, I agree. And being from Texas, I experienced that. And then, yeah, so it was something. And yeah, if you had a backup generator or a generator like this, you could go for quite a ways and quite a long time without worrying about it.
Yeah, I know there's rolling blackouts in California. A lot of value here.
Yep. Let's see, moving on to the next. So inside this bay, we're going to have your shore powers here, your city water hose. Part of the changes that were made in the restructuring of the coach, I think John mentioned 200 plus changes. One was moving the Oasis hydronic heating system to this area. So just utilizing every square foot, I guess, that you can to be more efficient in where you place things. But you have a hydronic heating, so the Oasis distribution panel and diagnostic panels up here. We have a space heater. This is thermostatically set. If you're in cold temperatures, you can turn that on. We have a generator battery out here, macerator hose. One other thing that I like to point out is this voltage meter. So I look at that frequently when I plug in a coach, and I want to make sure that there's clean power coming from the post to the coach that you've got, it'll show the voltage coming into the coach. So that's a really nice feature to have too.
Yeah, and I've got to compliment just how clean all of the plumbing is here. You can see those PEX lines. And then this is something really simple but important to me, that nice emerald entry rug to put at your front door. And then I see people rolling these up or folding them up and they get creased. But here you have this super convenient spot to put it. And then when it's time to set up camp, just go throw this in front of the front door, super clean. And then if you did need to power wash it off, you could probably just power wash it off and probably hang it to dry right here, and it would probably, especially a hot, dry day like today, it would dry real quickly.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's a great place for it. It's out of the way, it's easy to store, and it looks great. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
It's a great solution for that. Moving to the next bay. So this is the plumbing bay. And again, very clean application. You had talked about some of the labeling that they do. It's very easy to see what each of the components are and know what it's for. So we've got a reverse osmosis. This is for your drinking water. You've got at the sink, you've got a drinking water tap. We have your accumulator tank, an exterior water spigot, your black tank rinse, gravity fill water. We got the backup water pumps. So you have your primary water pump, the headhunter, and then you've got your backup auxiliary 12 volt water pump. In the event you don't have 110 or you're not using 110, you can use a 12 volt. We have your house water filter, another thermostatic heater here. Hydronic heating. So this is a register from the Oasis hydronic heating system, keeping this bay warm in cooler climates. You've got your dump tanks down there. The dump tanks I like, they're manual or electric. So primarily electric is what people use. But in the event of the electric isn't working for some reason, you can manually dump. We talked about the touch pads on the other side. This coach has 6. You've got 4 on the inside, 2 on the outside. The other one's on the other side of the coach, but this is a area where you can do all of your lighting, generator, heating, air conditioning, shades. You can do it all from out here. And the smaller one is for this local area, is the way I like to describe it. Anything you need to do in the local area on one screen, it's right there.
Yeah, and I can imagine that reverse osmosis system is pretty expensive. Is that a standard feature or is that an option?
Yeah, what part of the changes that Emerald had made in redesigning especially the layout of the bays was adding that RO system. So yeah, it's a part of the package that they're putting in today.
Yeah, a lot of cost in it. And then this is something too, this water system PSI meter. I can imagine that's real important to make sure that that plumbing system isn't overloaded. Is there like a reducer if there's too much PSI coming out of that headhunter or out of your city water connection, or how does that work?
Yeah, so what this is doing, it's monitoring the PSI coming out of your city water. If you were hooked up to your city water hose, which is in the other bay, it would show you the amount of water pressure coming in as well as the headhunter. And if it does get above a certain PSI, I'm not sure what it's set for, but yeah, it'll cut it. So.
Well, and then if you're running your headhunter and you're not getting as much PSI as you're used to, there may be an issue with the pump then.
Right,
So.
yeah, and something to look at.
And really nice having that auxiliary pump, so even if the headhunter goes, you could still take a shower or keep rolling. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Emerald likes to talk about. We like to talk about is redundant systems, backup systems. In the event one thing goes down, we've usually got something to back it up and to keep you going, keep you down the road to get you to the next place.
John Walker talks about keeping those horse trailers under those cowboys, and he likes to build a product that people can keep going down the road.
Yeah, they're reliable coaches, but things happen.
Yes, sir.
Moving back to the back of the coach, we can look through the engine compartment, but this does have the electric radiator fans on it, and that was a change that Prevost had made, going from the belt-driven fan to the electric fans. And my understanding is that it took considerable amount of horsepower back to the engine when they made this change. So the owners really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the owners in the colder climates, or even if there's stuff building up, I've heard that if ice starts to build up, that those fans can sense it and then reverse and actually blow out the the ice or whatnot and kind of clean themselves out a little bit. So a lot of thought and a lot of benefit to having those.
Yeah, it's been a great improvement, and I hadn't heard that story before, so that's good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you learn something new every day. Yeah, now coming around to the back end of the coach, I love the way Emerald brought their cap in to flow with those integrated awnings. It's got a very sporty, aggressive look. And then, you know, the Emerald badging and Prevost badging, and the paint scheme has got a pretty aggressive look. When you come behind this is definitely gonna catch your attention going down the highway.
Yeah, I think Emerald's done a great job with their look and their brand. The new logo that they've got, the stainless steel accents. And you're right, this paint job wraps around the back of the coach. The paint that they're doing's second to none. It's just a fantastic designs that they're doing, as well as the application from the painters. So yeah, it's a great back end. I like the cowling front and rear. They redesigned it when they came out with the new shell.
And then there's two cameras back here. Why would there be a reason to have two cameras instead of one?
Right, great question. So the lower one is the backup camera that comes from Prevost, and that can tilt. The one above it is called a Brigade 360. So you've got the Brigade 360 has a camera on the rear, one on each side, and then one in the front. And it's giving you an overhead view of the coach surrounding it. So on one hand, when you're driving down the road, it's great to see vehicles beside you or around you. And then at night, it's a security feature if you wanted to see what's going on around the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 20,000 pound towing capacity.
20,000 pound towing capacity, yeah, on this coach, yeah. So stacker trailers, you know, a lot of people do either a stacker trailer or they flat tow their vehicle.
Yeah, and then Volvo D13 back here.
Volvo D13 engine, 500 horsepower, and it's got 1,850 foot-pounds of torque on it. So it's a very powerful engine, just a great, reliable Volvo application here. And that's what they've been using for years.
I noticed you did that with one hand there. That's pretty impressive. Usually I'm using both hands to open that up.
Well, you saw the 25-pound weight in the front. Maybe I've been
Not your first rodeo. You've been working out, so.
I don't know. One nice thing, it does have a locking mechanism here, so when you run it up, you know, this, in the event something happens with the gas struts here, you know, there is something that's going to protect it from coming down.
Easy access to your belts if you ever do need to change a belt. And I'm always impressed with, you know, how they cover up like this pipe here, you know, that material that goes around it, you know, just a commercial grade machine. You can really see a lot of little touches like that when you really look closely here.
Yeah, it's amazing what Prevost's done in this engine compartment, giving it the accessibility for service technicians in the event you need to drop the engine or just do any kind of service back here. It's very open compartment, easy to work on.
And then coming around to the side here, I remember in some of the previous Emeralds, there was the hydronic heating system here, but they've freed up this space. What other uses could this space be used for?
Yeah, we've had customers that have wanted to put toolboxes in here. So
Yeah.
that would be a nice place for that. We've also had customers want to put maybe a pressure washer,
Yes, sir.
another option. So yeah, we've had people, they get creative back here with some different items.
Nice big open space there with a little bit of flexibility there.
We had talked about shutting down the coach earlier with the house batteries. If you wanted to shut down the chassis batteries, there's your on and off switch right here. And then you also have a battery boost if you, for some reason, needed to boost your chassis battery. So those are a couple things to point out here in this service compartment. Some people aren't familiar with this compartment here, so let's see if I can. So this is where your chassis batteries would be stored. And again, this is primarily Prevost features in here, but again, it's very well labeled, relays, breakers. We do have a Victron Energy battery charger back here. So a nice clean application.
A big fan here too to keep it all cool.
Cool. Yeah, it keeps it cool. Yeah, there's some electrical stuff in there. So
Yes, sir. I know heating and cooling is very important on these. So, well, as impressive as the exterior of this coach is, I think the folks are going to really like the interior. Do you think we could put these quad slides out and take a look at the interior?
yeah, I'd love to do that. Let's do that.
Well, this quad slide has a really nice feel to it. Definitely a lot more floor space, and the interior design is just stunning in this coach.
Yeah, when you get a quad slide coach and you have slides in both sides of the living room, it really opens the coach up and gives you a lot of livability, lots of space inside.
Yeah, I like the warmer colors in it. It's not too sterile. You know, still that very chic emerald design, but you know, kind of a light tan color on the recliner and sofa. Really nice color palettes that are kind of a departure of some of the real bright emeralds we've seen.
Yeah, the thing that I like about this coach is the contrasting colors. We've got a laminate that's got a gloss to it with a more of a matte finish laminate going into the galley, but I like the contrast there, as well as if you look at the window boxes, they've added that same laminate to the window boxes and the window valance. So it really ties the whole coach in very nicely together.
Well, and the shades have a little bit more of a tan look. Some of them are that white, but I really just like the warmth of this coach.
I agree with you. Sometimes they'll match more of the center color, but that's a very warm shade color.
And a darker ceiling, not too many motorhomes can pull off a darker ceiling. You don't see that often, but it just really turned out nice.
Turned out nice, and I think what's nice in this coach is you, again, have the contrasting laminates that are a little lighter throughout, so, and the leathers just turned out to be a nice balance.
And this is one of the newer ceiling designs. I know there's several different ceiling variations that folks can choose if they're custom building in Emerald.
Correct, yeah, so John and the Emerald engineers have created a few different ceiling layouts that help with the air conditioning, ducting, and how a customer would like that to look in the most efficient way.
Now, being the new body style, what all is going to be new on the inside of this coach?
So they've made a lot of changes, especially in the bays, which John has talked about, but they ended up making a lot of changes in the front in the driver and passenger area. The entire dash is new, and that came from Prevost to take into consideration the aerodynamics of the front of the cap. So yeah, once we get to the front in the driver passenger area and the dash was redesigned, they came up with all new lines for taking into the shape of the front cap. So this whole area had to be redesigned, and they did a fantastic job at Emerald. So this dash area has been reconfigured, and Prevost does a great job of making everything very convenient for the driver. So they've got new toggle switches here. You've got your Allison transmission 6-speed here. You've got nice cup holders on both sides. And the toggle switches, as you go across, you've got windows, you've got the overhead lamp, your tag axle load, unload, door locks, baggage door locks. There's a way that you can take the RPMs up from 700 to 1,000. Rear cameras, headlights, everything's very conveniently located. You also have some nice touch pads on the steering wheel. So this is all new at the steering wheel. And then your dash clusters are all new with an intelligent center digital readouts there in the center. We've got a large navigation screen here so you can play your music, navigation on this screen. So yeah, they did a very nice job of creating this driver area. So you've got the e-mirrors. This is a very popular add to the coach. These e-mirrors are great at night in all weather conditions and gives you great visibility in addition to the traditional side view mirrors that you have on the coach. Up above, Emerald's added a nice large touch screen where you can control your lights, your electrical components. You've got your climate, heating, air conditioning, shades. So lots of things you can do on this panel. And then you have more localized, smaller screens where you can control your shades and lights as well. So everything's right at your fingertips. It keep you from being distracted while driving. They did a very nice job.
Yeah, and those e-mirrors are just extremely clear. And we've been hearing a lot of Prevost owners rave about how much they like those. Is that the feedback you've been getting?
The feedback's been great. And I'll admit that I wasn't really a believer in those when I first saw them. I thought, because I was more of the traditional mirror person, but as I started driving them more and I got more accustomed to it, you could just see it out of the periphery. Like it's just right there. Great color. Night vision is great. And I used them, I found that I used them a lot just to see when I cleared a car behind me. So it's great. I really enjoyed that upgrade.
Especially at night and in foggy conditions, it's a game changer for sure.
It is. Yep. And then in addition, we have the Brigade 360 that gives you an overhead view of the coach as you're driving down the road. Yeah. So again, everything right at your fingertips, very easy to read, very well lit up, and very well engineered and designed.
Yes, sir. And I've heard the dash AC even improved for the new body style.
Yeah, the dash AC is improved. You know, this is a lot of window area that you have on the front of an H. And so, you know, they're moving a lot of air through the dash area, and as well as there's some air that comes out from behind the driver's seat here as well. So you're getting a lot of air circulation up here.
Now this coach has a lot of TVs. I think AV was important when they designed this. We've got a TV on a televator here, another TV in the slide room, and then the drop-down TV up front.
Yeah, so lots of audio video going on in the living area. So I described that TV in the slide-out room as you're driving down the road. That would be convenient to watch, or even if you're, you know, wanting to lounge on the sofa.
Or laying in the booth, you got straight shot, you know, at that.
Straight shot there. I think this one, great for people who want to watch a movie and not necessarily want to turn their head. So this is a great option for people who, you know, want to have a theater experience. Yep.
Yeah, and then that drop-down TV, that's for when you want to sit back in the recliner and maybe your spouse is laying down in the couch, or you're looking at the front of the coach, but then that is so nice the way it tucks up and you would never even know there's a TV there.
Yeah, very clean application, thin TV, tucks up in the ceiling very nicely, yeah.
Well, I really like what they did up front here. I'm going to take a seat in the recliner if you don't mind. Now we have this nice ottoman if you want to kick back, but I love the versatility and the functionality of this design. Say you need to get a little bit of work done, you just pivot it, pull out this keyboard tray that has that solid surface that matches this beautiful countertop and that wood grain face here, and so many nice little touches I'm noticing, like the two-tone, the way they broke it up right here, and this stainless lip right here. Emerald just does so many little touches. Again, that wood grain here on the valances with like a leather type material in between. Same thing, you've got a small wood grain below the valance there. All those little details really add up. But then just the whole design and functionality as well. You've got more storage below here. Actually, pretty good amount of storage. I think that would be a spot for maybe like a printer. What would you think?
Yeah, that could be a printer in there. We've had customers that have put a printer down there.
Yep, and then more drawer space here. Just a real nice functional use of this space.
And I like what you pointed out, the attention to detail. It's like you're talking about this corner. This could be somewhere that, you could nick it or something, but that's going to protect that corner. The attention to detail, I think, is a good observation.
Oh, and I can imagine there's some significant cost to pay a craftsman to sit here, have that piece of stainless. The engineering department needs to make sure everything lines up. I mean, it'd probably be much easier just to have an edge with that same wood grain, but a lot of little touches like that really takes Emerald to the next level.
Yeah, that's a really nice finished cabinet right there.
Yeah, coming back into the galley here, I think, is this something a little bit new? This tray that kind of slides in the sink here? What's all going on here?
Yeah, so in this is a residential style sink, but what I like about this is it could be a strainer, so if you wanted to rinse off your fruits and vegetables, you could do that in here. There's a nice screen down here to where you can dry your dishes once you've rinsed them off. Residential faucet, as well as your drinking water with reverse osmosis faucet.
Yeah, and looks like a Viking microwave convection oven. What else is going on in the galley?
Yeah, Viking convection oven, as well as a Wolf induction cooktop. And then down below we have the Fisher Paykel dishwasher, and lots of storage drawers. You could put your silverware clearly in there, and then more storage drawers, lots of cabinet space, and then just down below you've got additional storage. So
yeah, and over here a little spot for a trash receptacle to slide out as well, and recycle as well.
We can see the great storage.
You've been demoing the coach. It shows.
Emerald, yeah, we got Emerald brochures in here on this particular coach, and then adjustable shelves, LED lighting in there, some nice carpeted material on the bottom so things aren't moving, shuffling, and sliding around.
And this is, I'm just looking at the brochure here, is this Emerald Coach 1582 is the coach number.
We're in, yeah.
Now, will the sofa up front turn into sleeping?
Yeah, the sofa lays down. It's a jackknife sofa. There is a button at the convenience touchpad up here. Touch this panel, and you can lay it down. And then you do have a little storage behind there if you wanted to put some type of
maybe your cell phone. My thought would be if I was a guest here and I need somewhere to maybe set my keys and my cell phone or something, or kind of like a bedside nightstand kind of setup. And I like what Emerald did here, just putting a cup holder next to your sofa. We're all going to need a spot to put a drink, so they're thinking ahead, and then you have more countertop space over there as well. And coming back to the dinette area, I love the way they staged the decor. Looks like you've got the little mixer and cocktail glass set up there.
They're ready for the evening's activities and entertaining folks inside your coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, does this booth turn into sleeping as well?
Yeah, so there's a button over here that you can push down to lower the dinette table, and then there's a cushion that you could turn this into a sleeping area.
And I don't know if anybody else is doing this. It's such a simple design, but I don't think I've ever seen this set up in anything but an Emerald coach, and it just really makes sense.
Yeah, real good use of space. Provides you an additional sleeping area as well as with the sofa.
And it's a good overhead storage here. If you did have folks staying in the coach, the cabinets are well lit as well. You can see those have a hold so they stay open if you need to load and unload stuff here.
Yeah, and again, LED lighting inside the cabinets. They've got the carpeted material so things aren't sliding around.
And then I believe we have some storage below as well, and very large drawers. We were going through some other product here at Transwest, and no knock on any of the other coaches, but Other coaches with booths that had drawers come out weren't even close. I mean, this is by far the largest under booth drawers I've seen in a motorhome.
Yeah, great observation. There's lots of items and things that you could put in here for storing under your dinette. Yeah,
Yeah, great spot for some blankets or pillows if you do have extra folks sleeping out here.
Yep.
And it's been cool to see how the Emeralds have evolved, and they just keep sharpening up these, accent walls and coming up with new cool designs. And, again, like we were talking about, how you've got that wood grain with the white accent wall, nice two-tone contrast there.
Yeah, I think we've seen a number of different designs. We've been through a few coaches today, and we've seen this area designed and engineered and with the wraps differently. So this is a great design. I like the way that it's put together. All right, so as we're continuing through the coach, moving from the living room into the galley, we're going to go into the hallway. And one of the things that I really like is the glossy laminate and the Fisher Paykel refrigerator freezer. So it gives it a really nice contrasting look. And as we walk through, we have more storage here. We've got the drawers with adjustable shelves, good storage there. And we'll move right into the half bath area. And I really like continuing with the glossy laminate in here. Lots of mirrors. We have the sink and storage underneath, as well as the Tecma and storage behind with the inverter control panels up above. So really nice use of space here. So continuing through, we have a stack washer dryer in this cabinet. Good use of space there in the hallway. And then we have a pocket door that separates the bedroom from the rest of the coach.
Yeah, and I think this is the super suite here with the bedroom super slides.
Yeah, we've got super slides on both sides in the bedroom. So we have the passenger side has a super slide, as well as the king size bed goes out on a super slide. Lots of storage.
Tons of storage, tons of living space. And then I like, they put a full-length mirror here on the inside of this pocket door. Then you've got some closet space behind you there.
Yeah, so this is really nice storage area inside the cabinet. So you've got actually two closet rods here, nice for jackets, slacks, or whatever you want to hang in here. And actually, this is where we store the cooktop covers, sink covers, magnetized inside this cabinet as well. But yeah, in addition to the hanging, we've got some nice drawers.
Yeah, and it's really well thought out the way they have these cooktop covers mounted back here, because that's not really taking any space at all. I doubt it's going to affect your hanging space, but sometimes, below the sink, when you start stacking that stuff up, it takes a lot more space. So really clever to put it there. And then I love to point out the way Emerald puts these metal reinforcements on the insides of these doors. And we were talking about it earlier today when we were filming that 2017 that some folks just traded in for a new body style Emerald. They build these coaches to last. They're thinking, what's this coach going to be like 10 years from now? It'd be easy to skip that. I'm sure there's a significant cost that goes to that, but they're thinking ahead so that these coaches last.
Yeah, longevity in the buses and built to last for a long time.
The chassis is 1,000,000 miles, and if you take care of the coach, it should keep rolling.
In addition to the hanging and storage we have over there, we have some more long hanging. On this side, we have a safe built in.
Huge closet there.
Yeah, this is a very large closet.
Oh, and here's the pad here for, I'll literally walk into this closet. I can't stand up all the way, but this is going to be that pad for that extra sleeping. And again, when you tuck this back here, really not taking up a lot of space.
Yeah, that's a good place for it. Yeah.
And well lit, lots of lighting throughout this coach, and little shoe cubbies down there, and outlets as well.
Outlet. Yeah.
And again, those big reinforcements there. And just check out these hinges, how overbuilt this is. These are very robust hinges, and we've got 4 of these on this cabinet door, and when you open and close it, you really feel that Emerald quality. Well, this laminate, I just realized this is kind of a little different pattern with the squares that go horizontal and vertical. I think that's just in the bedroom. Was it like that out in the galley?
I didn't realize that in there either. So there and on the cabinet across the way. Yeah, so that's interesting.
So many little details throughout this coach. We could walk this coach 10 times and see something new every time. But we've got another fixed TV, a lot of TVs in this coach.
There is, yeah. So you have a bedroom TV with the sound bar, and you've got a subwoofer in here. So great surround sound and great audio video.
Yeah, storage on both sides of the TV as well. And again, that high gloss finish, and then some good drawer space as well. Again, just noticing all the little details. This is a totally different ceiling design here in the bedroom than we saw up front in the salon.
These are wrapped panels that kind of goes back to what you were talking about. If somebody wanted to have a different look than what's in here, that would be something that could be done in a remodel.
Yeah, and they're trying to think of ways to do that cost effectively and make it easier for someone that's going to be working on this coach. And I talk to a lot of the RV technicians out there. Everywhere I go, I mean, you sales guys are cool, but I try to make sure I'm on the good side of the RV technicians because those are the guys I'm going to need. And I enjoy just asking them. I learned so much from those guys. And we recently were talking to some super well-respected guys in the Prevost industry. And I actually kind of just walked in on a random conversation. The guy was telling a few guys, he's like, the Prevost converter that's really doing it right is Emerald. And these are guys that were like old school, 90s, early 2000s, the guys that actually built buses for another one of the Prevost converters that wasn't in business anymore, but they were impressed with Emerald. So.
Yeah, and that goes, I know John speaks to this a lot. He actually talks to the service technicians. They have service technicians. And so it's important for him to get that feedback. They do a lot of listening from the customers, from service techs. So it's an important part of making notes and what they want to do going forward. It's just a constant product improvement that Emerald's going through in their processes.
Yeah, absolutely. John Walker is just a class act CEO of Emerald and the entire team down there in Stephenville, Texas. Now, talking about those old school Prevost guys, now, I talk about how much respect I have for the technicians. I think we might know an old sales guy that was heavily involved in the Prevost back in the day. Can you share when you originally got involved with Prevost?
You're talking about myself. Yeah, so I have some history in the business. So I started back in '97, started at Country Coach, Prevost, and started washing and waxing and doing the details. I did factory deliveries, worked my way up into the sales organization, and was selling to our dealer network at the time in those days. And so, it was a great experience, a great way to introduce myself to the Prevost, and kind of started at that high level of the RV industry. But what a great experience. And then I did work for Prevost for a few years as well. So I add that to my resume a little bit.
Well, those old country coaches, those were some of my favorites. Those old Prevost country coaches were just really ahead of their time.
They were a well-built coach, still on the road today. We've had some customers that I've met on my 6-week tour. And then we had some folks that I met at Sturgis last year that traded their country coach in for an Emerald. If anybody out there is a country coach person that may know me or may have known me, please reach out. I'd love to catch up with you. And,
Yeah, we saw you down in Texas at a Prevost rally, and we had met some folks that had just came out of a Prevost country coach and into an Emerald. Is that the same folks?
The same folks, yeah. So those are the same folks, and I'd met them at the Sturgis the previous year, and just build relationships. That's really what this business is. It's relationships, and it's a great industry.
Well, and I learned something from that gentleman. You learn more from the owners, the technicians, the sales guys. You guys are all right, but I really get my true wisdom from the technicians and the owners. But I've got to share something that owner did share with me. One of the big reasons that they jumped up from that Prevost country coach into this is they wanted that Volvo D13 motor. They were worried about the serviceabilities of the older Detroit diesels. They know that the Prevost service centers are set up to service the Volvos, but those Detroit diesel coaches are 15 going on 20 years old now. So I don't know how much Prevost is investing in servicing coaches that are that dated. It doesn't make sense. And I think some of the Prevost service centers aren't going to be as equipped for the Series 60 Detroit. So that was what caused them to get up into a newer Emerald.
Yeah, and I think that, speaking of that couple, I think the nice thing with them is getting themselves into a Prevost initially, having that experience that they had with the product. That was an XL2 that they'd had, and Prevost's constantly evolving and improving their product as well. And then the Emerald they bought was an X3, so it's just a constant improvement in product, whether it's the chassis, whether it's the converter. And their country coach was a great coach for them, and it's probably has a new owner for the country coach today. So somebody's enjoying that country coach. It's just kind of the way the business model works.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone just traded in a 17X Prevost and they're in a new one, and it's a cool cycle and a lot of great people in the Prevost world. Yeah, but going back to this coach here, bedside, we've got that doorbell camera. So, if the wash guy washed your coach and he's ringing your doorbell to try to upsell you on a wax, you can tell him to come back later.
Hey, we're looking for
John Walker from Emerald Luxury Coaches. You've also got the different touch panels here to control all the systems bedside on both sides of the bed as well.
Yeah, on the forward and the rear side of the bed, you've got the touch panels. They do go dark after a period of time. The other thing that I really like are the wall sconces. I think those are really classy looking. Lots of visibility. We have the shade down now, but the windows provide a lot of exterior view. Dual pane tinted windows, Prevost patented windows. Yeah.
And I like the contrast of the white ceiling inside of the slide room breaks up the darker ceiling a little bit, and then having no overhead cabinets just really opens it up. And I don't know if you guys have enough pillows here. I think you guys need some more accent pillows. Do those come with the coach?
Yeah, those come with the coach, and it's decored, and yeah, so what's in the coach goes with the coach. And I like the detail in the window boxes too.
So absolutely.
We carried that gloss, or Emerald carried the glossy laminate around the window box and the balance, so it's a really nice touch.
Yeah, really.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, that little contrast just really makes it pop. And
Yeah.
now there's a slight rounded edge on the bed here, but is this a king size or RV king? Do you know what the dimensions are?
I'm not sure on the dimensions. It is a king size width, but we do have 2 slides that come in, so you know that's got to be able to come together at the end. But yeah, this is a king size bed.
Yes, sir. And then again, really cool accent walls coming back here into the rear bathroom. But what's all going on in the rear bathroom?
Yeah, so in the bathroom here, we do have a lot of counter space here. We've got the sink with a nice faucet and some storage up above, a medicine cabinet. We do have some jewelry rings where you can hang your jewelry up there. Good storage. 110 outlet. We do have a nice laundry hamper. We do have some storage up above with adjustable shelves, LED lighting in there. We have these nice drawers that provide lots of storage opportunity and a large shower. I know Emerald does a great job of maximizing the height. They have a lower shower pan, but a lot of height, maximizing it to the ceiling, and just a great job of the tile work in here. I like what they did in the back, as well as a larger tile in the front. So yeah, very, very nice area for a shower, lots of room.
Yeah, and again, just a totally different style design there on the tile.
Yeah, here on the front and the rear we have the tile, but in this area here, yeah, it's almost like a, I don't know how you describe that, but it's almost like an oyster kind of a, I like that look.
Yeah, a totally different pattern. I've noticed that emeralds, have real simple lines, and then in the showers they get a little more wild, but just really nailed it with this one. Well, Brian, I really appreciate you showing us around this beautiful 24 Emerald coach. Now, I heard you're ready to make a crazy deal on this demo. If someone wants to become the next owner of this coach, how much money do they need to come up with?
Yeah, so the crazy deal on this coach is 2.19. So yeah, call us, and make us an offer. We're ready to deal on this demo coach. We would like for somebody to be the owner of this coach.
Brand new body style quad slide Emerald with full warranty, and then they'd be the original first owner of this coach?
That's right. This is an untitled coach. It's brand new, 2024, full warranty, 2-year Prevost, 2-year Emerald, 5-year engine transmission. So yeah, this is a great opportunity for somebody to take advantage and get into a new coach.
If you're ready to step into a new body style Prevost, Ryan's the guy to talk to. How can they get a hold of you if they're ready to step up?
Yeah, if you want to, reach out directly to me. My number is 214-551-3080. My email address is brian.thompson@transwest.com. You could always go to the Transwest website, transwest.com, click on bus conversion, and there's lots of ways to get a hold of us, but you can call me directly.
Awesome. We'll make sure to leave all of that information in the description below. And Brian, we really appreciate you and the team at Transwest and the team at Emerald here.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrew. It's been a pleasure having time with you and spending our time together.
Yeah, likewise. And we also appreciate all of you out there watching these videos and sharing and subscribing and all that good stuff. We hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.
With the Prevosts and the Emeralds, we're at the top of the RV food chain, is what I like to say.
They build these coaches to last.